Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Norfa Ikadena, and today we are going to present our group's mini presentation for our class HSL1083. And the title for our mini research is a code switching in the cross-cultural interactions among KPTM students. Now let's look at the introduction first. So, what is code switching? Code switching is a practice of switching between two or more languages in a conversation. And it is common among KPTM students due to their diverse culture and linguistic backgrounds. Students often mix Bahasa Melayu, English, and local dialects to express themselves naturally, to build friendships, and to adapt on different social settings. This behavior reflects not only to their language skills, but also their natural identity and social awareness. In a multicultural environment like KPTM, code switching helps bridge the communication gaps to promote understandings and to create a sense of belonging. Studying these phenomena reveals how KPTM students use language to connect, to adapt, and to communicate efficiently across cultures. And that's all from my part. I'm going to pass it to the next person. Bye.
Hello, I am Ilyas Muzaffar bin Harman, code BGJ2407115546. So you might be wondering what's the objective of this? Well, the main purpose of this study is to examine the use and reasons behind code switching among students. We want to explore how and why students alternate between languages in different contexts, and how it affects their communication and learning experiences. We have two actually, which is first to identify the types and patterns, secondly to investigate the reason and factors that influence students to code switch in conversation. That's all from me. I'm moving on to the next.
Okay, now it is my part, research methodology. Now, for the procedure, we use a survey, i.e. Google form. Now, the reason we use Google form is because so that it is easily shared between the KPTM students. Not just that, we will able to gather answer as well as percentage based result much more easily. Now, for the instruments, like I said, we use an online survey, Google form. With this, we're able to gather students' information and as well as their background information, their dialect, their section, their semester, and with this, we're also able to ask them opinions about code switching and the usage of it. Now, lastly is the methodology itself. We use a quantitative method, so questionnaire and such. Not only that, we aim for about 50 students/respondent for this mini research, and we're able to achieve that result. Now, the reason we choose around 50 and the reason we choose quantitative method is because it is easier to gather the information as well as easier to compile the information we have gathered.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Alia Hanan Jasmine binti Afzal Nizam and my ID number is BGJ24071063. Today, I'll be presenting about our research findings. The first one is we want to know how often does the respondent code switch in their daily basis. And the data that we got, which is 57.7% respondent chooses always, while the other chooses never. The second one is we want to know why do they code switch. And based on the data that we got, first is 32.7% chooses to code switch to express themselves effectively. The second one, 30.8%, chooses to code switch since they feel like they can converse more naturally. while the other 23.1% chooses to code switch because they cannot remember the word in a certain language, hence why they switch to another language. And the last one is we want to know what is the respondents' opinion on code switching. The first one is 45 people thinks it is a strength. It is because they can use code switch to express themselves, to converse more naturally, and they feel like they can express themselves in a certain way and in a more better way. And the other 7 people think it is a weakness. It is because they think that code switching means that you are not being true to yourself, to your identity. In their opinion, they feel like we as a Malaysians, we need to use our Bahasa Melayu and not switching to English. And the other opinions are also, they think it is a weakness since it does not show professionalism. It is because based on their example, they give that when you are in a presentation and when you are using English for the whole presentation, then you code switching to Bahasa Melayu, it seems that you are not professional, and that is why they think that code switching is a weakness. So that's all from me. I will pass it to the next member. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nur Idina Madiha binti Umar. So let's start with discussion. For discussion, we actually have two main objectives. The first one is to identify the type and pattern of code switching that being used among KPTM learning students. And the second one is to find out the reason and factor that influence them to use code switching. Objective 1. From the finding, we found that 100% students use the combination of language and Malay to show that the language is part of their identity. So, we also found that 57.7% is the percentage they could switch for both academic purposes and to socialize. So, meaning that they use it in the class and for their daily life. So, overall, English and Malay combination is the most common type of code switching that being used by students to help them communicate effectively and naturally in any situation. So that's all from me. I'm going to pass for the next person.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Arwi Jauhari bin Aminul Hasrin. My ID number is BGJ 240711470. And today I'll be talking about Objective 2, which is our goal is to investigate the reasons and factors that influence KPTM students to code switch during conversations. So, based on our findings, 32.7% of students code switch because they can't remember a certain word. This shows that sometimes when students forget a word in one language, they switch to another language that comes more naturally to them, which they feel more comfortable to speak of. Meanwhile, 30.8% students code switch to express themselves more effectively. This means that certain feelings or expressions are easier to communicate in another language. For example, some emotions or ideas might sound more natural or powerful when said in their native language. So, moving on to our discussions. Firstly, code switching is not random. Students use it intentionally depending on who they're talking to and the situation. Secondly, it helps them express themselves more accurately and emotionally, especially when they can't find the right word in one language. Third, this creates a more inclusive and relaxed campus environment where students feel confident expressing themselves naturally. Fourth, research also shows that language use isn't just about grammar, it's about identity, comfort, and connection. So, when students code switch, it reflects who they are and helps them connect better with others. And last but not least is, it helps students to express ideas and emotions more effectively when one language feels limited. So that's all from me. I'll pass it to the next member.
Hello, I'm Nur Ali Sofia binti Abdullah and my student ID is BGJ 2407-11408. I would like to talk about our conclusion in our mini research. This mini research explore how KPTM students use a code switching code switching, focusing on the types, pattern, and reasons behind it. The finding shows that switching between Malay and English is common and natural among the students. Yes. They often switch language depending on the situation, their comfort level, and who they are talking to. Many do it to express themselves better, match the conversation tone, or sound more natural. Peer influence and academic settings is also affect their language choice. Overall, all study shows that code switching is not a weakness, but a smart and flexible way of communicating that reflects students' identity, adaptability, and connection with others. I think that's all from me. Thank you.